illustrate the changes that are happening in terms of the high performance you were showing. So you've got digital talent, motivated, etc. How does that translate into results, things you do differently that are going to impact customers? I remember last year you mentioned how many new ancillaries you can push to the market that customers can see. What are the changes that you see or that customers can see now that you have that new digital talent for several years now?
I think that probably the best example is our speed to react to changes. Recently, there has been a complicated situation in terms of natural disaster in a region in Brazil. So many people got without the possibility of arriving to the airport. It was completely flooded, and we needed to open an operation in a close-by airport that was not flooded. And this requires a massive changes in all of the different departments of the organization, and also massive changes in our digital experience. And we were able to do it extremely fast, create even the code of the airport in our systems, the route, the crew, everything to be able to set that. We arrived there 5 days before any other airline. This is a concrete example of responding fast to changes in customer preference for a big reason. And I think it's an example in which not only the digital part of the organization, but the whole organization is acquiring this orientation to speed, to react fast to changes.
Again, internally, you benefit externally, and customers can benefit. Great.
Exactly.
Keith, on your presentation, I see that roadmap, very ambitious. I mean, compared to an airline that's digitally native or an airline that would start operating today, of course, you've got a massive challenge. Have you mapped everything already before you start? You said it's very German planning. Do you think you've mapped it to the end? Like, do you know already all the technology you're going to use or everything you're going to do? Or what is the level of uncertainty that you still need to manage? You mentioned change management as a big challenge.
Yes.
So how would you, can you openly share with us what's the level of uncertainty, and in what area do you still have unknowns in that journey?
Yeah, indeed. It's a catch-22 because we really do try to drill down as much into, before launching the development with any provider, drill down as much into the need that we have, right the way across from the technology and user stories, and then specific requirements, but also in terms of the actual business processes. Because, as I say, everything needs to change. It's not just the IT stack, it's the actual business processes of how we behave. And we're still not sure that the standards are indeed being worked on themselves, but we're still not sure exactly where they're going to land or what exactly they're going to be. So we're doing as much as we can to pin down as much as we can, but leaving still space for an agile development process where possible.
So the rest of the company is comfortable going with some agile unknown parts?
It's been interesting going from a legacy structure with waterfall processes, with the other departments who are also not used to, then us trying to come in with this new program, be disruptive, create an agile framework and work in an agile framework, particularly even for financing the program and budgeting of the program. Financing doesn't work in an agile way, right? So you still have to try and shoehorn that into the legacy processes that are currently there. But we're working through it. We're getting there. Definitely making significant improvements in how a lot of. That's why we say change management is so important, because it's so much internally that needs to change in order for this to become a reality.
Good, thanks, Lisa. Leon. you heard those two presentations. I'd like your feedback. Maybe if you can start, I mean, not on Ricard personally, on LATAM, because Ricard is talking about the digital airline, but I remember 10 years ago when I was giving examples of digital airlines, I was talking about AirAsia, so it's a digital company flying aircraft. What's your perspective on the achievement that they've done in LATAM, and is that similar to? Do you see something that looks like AirAsia, or how different is it from being a digital airline?
Thank you, Eric. So pleasure to be here. I think we resonate a lot with what Ricard has shared in terms of the journey in LATAM, because I think that we hold the digitalization is a very forefront of our culture. So back then, even 20 years ago, within the Asia region, it is not common to even have like online check-in or boarding pass being actually printed online. But AirAsia was the first airline within the region to actually introduce this process to create that seamlessness and holding that digitalization as our culture to ensure that we remove that physical process in our journey. So I agree a lot, like airline is a very physical kind of company, but then from during our founding years, we have actually embraced that digital part in our culture. So fast forward till now, I think that some of you might have already know that we focus a lot of investment and also effort on our development of our app to actually drive more direct bookings. So about 70-80% currently of our sales is actually driving from on our direct channels, and our strategy and also how we actually want drive up the engagement is also on to ensure that we offer end-to-end ancillary services and offerings to our customers to complete the whole journey. At the same time, the digitalization part help us to actually collect the rich passenger data to keep on enhancing and improving of our digitalization process. So that drives up our direct channel, lower our costs, as well as convert into a more affordable fares to our customers. So with that, I think what's supporting that is that very similar to LATAM's journey, the people and the culture is actually the forefront of that, and being agile as well. Because there are a lot of trial and errors, to see that whether this works or not, but being able to actually react to that quickly is actually what AirAsia we have been embracing so far.
Excellent. Can I ask you some feedback as well on what you heard from Chris about the Lufthansa Group? Because I remember 5 years ago it was also something similar to how you manage it in AirAsia, or does it resonate, or is it different?
I think in a way that I think Lufthansa is very, very structured in a way of like how you guys actually face it out. There is a similarities there, like how are we ensuring the transformation is actually being separated by phase. However, the importance is that sometimes planning is as such, but when the market changes or certain kind of customer behavior changes, we need to be able to actually really quickly, okay, this one is our roadmap, but we might need to actually modify that in a way. So I think that is what we are embracing right now. Planning is still a very important portion of it, that we can't be just doing changes overnight. But being able to adapt to whatever the latest feedbacks or the market offerings is what we are doing ongoingly in our transformation process.
Excellent. So now I heard about the feedback from the others. Tell us more about AirAsia. You're in charge of Ancillary. You mentioned your app. Everybody knows. How do you make sure that you've got the best app in the market, that it's matching the expectation of the customers? What's your strategy? Can you share that with us?
I think it's also very putting like customer obsession as our front of our culture as well. I think because at the end of the day, we can say that we cross-sell, we upsell, we offer so much of ancillary services, but is it very highly relevant to the customers? We need to ensure that the personalization part is not only just, okay, you might need all these services, but whether is it highly relevant as a customer journey, as a customer, what we actually needed from travel experience. So what I would like to reiterate is that the really gathering the feedback of customers, knowing what they want, use our data, study our data on customer behavior, and to really being able to use technology as well, and our partners to actually partner with third parties providers to actually enhance that experience. Yeah.
Very good. Thanks, Mehong. Ursula, you've been observing, you worked for airlines, now you have many airlines as clients. What you hear, how does it resonate? Is there anything else that we've missed in the discussion, or how do you like to do it?
Yeah, I would love to actually add a couple of thoughts. So, first of all, what really resonated is, I think it's very clear, it's not about technology, but it is about the people. If you want to achieve the change, and if you really want to be a digital airline, you said. So my first question is is that part of the problem to say we want still to be a digital airline? Could the change be faster, even the change in the mindset? And you mentioned, particularly Keith, you mentioned a bit more the issues with the change process. And could it help actually to say, and for you, Ricard, it seemed a little bit, you were ignoring a bit that part maybe of the organization, which I guess you have already made a lot of progress, but there is probably still there are a lot of people who actually have worked in the airline for so long, and so for them, these processes that they know, this legacy technology, that's what made them in the airline, so it's very difficult to get loose of it. So should you maybe think about, and at some stage actually in the TUI group we did this, we separated the physical part that you described that you have on the day of travel from the whole digital part and real customer experience part. And we just bought the aircraft capacity from fixed providers with defined positions. So is that something which can help that thinking? I liked when, Ricard, when you explained the people and culture, you almost do a bit of what, and that's something which I've learned over the years, is whatever we do, and it's what we also say in Branchspace, whatever we do and represent, we should also live with our people, within our culture. So if it's about personalization, I think you described a bit of a menu of how you work your new people culture that you establish. It allows full personalization almost for any individual. When Keith, you were talking about immersive planning for customers, why not do immersive brainstorming with your teams? If you have once used with a couple of team members in the metaverse to really do brainstorming, then you suddenly realize there are no barriers anymore. You feel actually like in Harry Potter, you move from one thought and idea to the next one, and the others join you with this kind of 1,000 miles per second speed. They are with you, and you can actually immediately add on. You suddenly lose all of this link to the current environment, the current weights which hold you back all the time, and the fears and the problems. And I think that's where more thinking like how to personalize for the teams as well, how to give this control for the teams, and this thinking which can help to speed it up as well. So these are just a couple of ideas how that can actually help to really move ahead faster. And suddenly you don't talk about ancillaries anymore. You really talk about how can you sell anything, anywhere, anytime. And this will be great for customers, and this will create the joy also for this innovation for the teams.
So, and maybe going back to Mehong on that topic of the super app, the lifestyle, and the brand is like bigger than the airline, like capital A, etc. Okay, can you maybe elaborate a little bit on the super app, explaining that concept? And maybe I'll hear about the other airlines to know, once we hear that AirAsia is doing or is going, maybe if that's what we can achieve with retailing. So, yeah, can you explain a little bit that? I mean, what do you call ancillaries? Is it all services, and is it, if you order food or you order many other things? Can you explain a bit all of that for us?
Okay, I think the concept of the Move Super App right now, we actually rebrand it as our Move app. So our vision is actually to be a more digital and lifestyle platform. And also back to just now we mentioned about like changing of the roadmap. I mean, we adapt along the way. So our initial version of Super App, we actually offer food delivery as well. But along the way, we realized that travel is still our core DNA, and we realized that we want to focus our effort on really travel related and also complete the whole experience of the customers when they actually make any travel related booking. So we have actually different strategy on the food delivery side, and right now we more on focusing on the travel side. So the concept of the Move app right now is really on our vision is becoming the ASEAN #1 OTA. So we, as an airline, we started as a low-cost airline, but then we wanted to aim to be an OTA that owns an aircraft. So we are not only a platform services, we can actually directly have the best offering in terms of our own direct airline and also ticket. But at the same time, it's a very bold move from our leader, our founder as well, Tony, that actually we want to also sell non-AirAsia flights. And at the same time, ensuring that it doesn't actually cannibalize our own ticket revenue, but serve customer as a whole. As a customer, I come in, I'm able to actually book everything seamlessly within the app themselves. So the concept is that before you booking, we have some personalized recommendation. Probably will tell that passengers like you, or recommendations for you, serve as an inspiration for you to actually think that, okay, maybe I want to travel this place. Okay, once you actually click into it, and we will actually, during the booking, use our algorithms and personalization features such as dynamic pricing, ensuring that the real time and the right pricing is actually being presented to you as customer to be able to drive up the conversion. And then after the journey of booking, during the post-booking, we ensure that all the standard services like hotels, right here, also even enhances your duty-free travel retail experience, completes the whole experience of the travel. On top of that, one of the business and probably one of the features that we're actually working on that is still on the infancy stage is our chat and community portion of the app. We wanted to drive a lot of engagement on the app directly itself. So we want to actually be a platform where passengers or community can actually chat within themselves. What are the travel tips? What are the latest places to actually visit? What is the latest lifestyle or the tips on etc. to actually create that engagement on the app? And so that is basically the whole concept of it, driving that engagement to our direct channel. And at the same time, from there we leverage data and also study passengers' behavior to ensure that, okay, are we actually offering the right price, right product, and also are we optimizing, on top of optimizing our ancillary revenues, giving the best values to the customers who are using our app. So that is how the whole Move app concept is as of today.
Okay, well, thank you. And I'm curious because like Amazon, they were selling their inventory and then they started opening their platform to other merchants, and regardless of it's not Amazon's inventory, it's somebody else. And airlines launched Orbitz and others trying to be OTAs, and so for you it's not a problem like that. And Keith, on your roadmap and your vision 2030, is there any topic such as Lufthansa Group could sell other airlines' flights? Because when a customer comes to your website, if you don't fly there, why just say, sorry, we don't fly? Why don't you just tell them, well, he's one of our partners? Do you have concept like that in your roadmap in Vision 2030? How far do you go?
Yeah, we have indeed discussed it. There are many ideas like that floating around. We do not want to, at this stage, it's not up for us to decide whether the direction of the company should become an agent, all right? But at least what we are trying to do is, the tagline for Core is enabling retailing experiences. And basically, we are viewing it as an enabler. We are trying to create that Roman road, so to speak, to allow the potentiality for commerce to come and build the new cities, so to speak. So the idea is we just want to create the possibility, whatever the new business model, whatever direction the management decides to go in, that we have enough flexibility within the technology we've built to be able to do so.
Yeah, because airlines have been selling other airlines through Interline for a long time, so
Yes.
it's not very different, and then this is enabling that. Interesting. Ricard, how far is your vision going? If you have new people, new talent that think digital, in the digital world, there's no boundaries. Maybe one day you fly aircraft, tomorrow you do something else. How do you see the evolution of your company if you bring that type of new talent?
We will not be opening an OTA next quarter. That I can confirm.
Let me take notes.
But for sure it would be super interesting. Ideas like this, or expanding into payments further. There are once you start, there are many different areas to which you can pivot and find interesting options. I think that the upper management of the company is not at all closed to these ideas. But I think that also now there is a very clear focus in what we need to excel as an airline. No? So I think we have to wait and see what happens.
Because there are some digital talents in the room. They listen to you and they say, oh, maybe I work for LATAM. But there they compare. Yesterday we were in AWS office, with FTE and AWS. Oh, it's Amazon, but now they have these cloud services. So that's what those new people you try to attract. They want a company that, if we are good at something, then we can start a new business and become successful. Mm-hmm. The people you are having now, they come with those expectations. Do you see the future of airlines transforming because of the new mindset, new culture that you put there, or do you give them boundaries? And you say, no, you're here to fly aircraft?
No, not at all. No boundaries, and I'm sure that if we see some movements of this type in the airline industry, it will come from airlines that are being the first one working this digital transformation path. No doubt about it.
I'm looking at the audience and see if you want to raise your hand. If you have any questions, they're ready for. Oh, I see hands. Do you have mics? Yes, mic is coming. I was just warming them up for your questions, so now that they're ready. Yeah, if you can just please say your name and company, and then ask your question. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, my name is Rohit. I look after ancillaries and holidays for AirAsia. Okay. I have two questions. For two different speakers. First of all, Ricard, amazing presentation. I really felt like I'm at a TED Talk here. I must say the clarity of thought, it kind of really breaks through the day-to-day work that one is doing. There was a slide where you spoke about, the role simplification and the role explosion, wherein I understand the underlying hierarchy that we're trying to, that you were trying to do away with. But essentially, especially in technological roles, the role still remains the same, right? The front-end developer, the back-end, the UX designer, essentially their work remains the same. So are we saying that, because there was a concept of hybrid, you can't essentially be doing the things that Netflix and Amazon is doing completely. Also, there is dependency on third-party platforms. I understand you're on Sabre, if I'm not wrong, if I have that information right. So, at what point does the airline say this is what we are doing, this is what we do, and this is something that we will outsource? And with this whole concept of the hierarchy shift, are those roles still required? Are these people still doing the same jobs but having different names? or there is more to it that I missed?
So there are two parts. Well, first of all, thank you for your kind comments. There are two parts to your question. The in-source versus outsource part, we are aiming for a balanced model. We think that there is a lot of value in having partners to work with you. So we are not at all moving to a complete insourcing of the whole pool of digital talent. But we think that there must be a balance in which the culture we want to model can prevail. And regarding the role thing, what we are trying to do is to flatten explicitly and implicitly the hierarchy so that eye-to-eye conversations can happen more fluidly. Okay, so there's a bit of mixture with these concepts of roles, titles, expertises, and what we are trying to do. Of course, we need to know that somebody is a front-end developer and somebody is a UX designer, but we don't need to carve this out in the title that appears in the people manager. You can edit your Slack profile and explain to the world whatever is you're good at. So we are letting people in their Slack profiles internally and in their LinkedIn profiles externally to explain what they are good at as they wish. And we are reserving this space of the role inside the people manager to only these three titles. That's what we are trying to do.
Okay, I think I got my answer. I have a second question for Wong, if that's okay. Wong, I wanted to ask you, after migrating to the move, the AirAsia move, the OTA that you've built, and I mean I've played around with it, and I must say it's state of the art. It matches with a lot of OTAs I see. But question is more on the business shift. So when you did that, do you see an overall uplift? What is the uplift of overall transaction on the platform, and does it make up for the loss of revenue on selling AirAsia only? I mean, it can be either. This is purely quantified in numbers terms, and let's not talk about let the customer decide. But pure numbers terms, does it really make up for the loss of revenue? How do you see that?
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the question. So I think that, thanks for also experiencing and playing around with the app on that and the kind comment. So I think that I wouldn't say that there is much of the loss of revenue that we are seeing as of today, as what we mentioned that, not being able to not cannibalize our own direct operating routes is a key point of this Move Super App offering. So we actually focuses on mainly our own flight, and also for the other markets that we don't serve and we don't fly to, those are where the other non-Asia flights that is actually being pushed on to be able to book on our platform. So in terms of the numbers, as you mentioned, is that I think that the really growth and also the value that we see is really the increase of new customers. So previously, probably we are only able to actually attract customers that only wanted to book flight. But right now, we have seen a growth of about 20% of new customer base that probably come in from the other services. Maybe they just wanted to come in for the hotel, for the passes, we have our unlimited subscription passes as well to actually drive the new customer base. So when they actually come into the app, they actually manage to also explore the other offerings on the app. So that is our key strategy here, to ensure that we drive the value and we drive the customer base first. So I would say that in terms of quantifiable value, I would say that probably the potential value of us gaining the customer base is much higher than whatever revenue cannibalization or loss that referred by you. But then I would say that In terms of flight, we still are very dominating in terms of our own direct operating flights, and the rest are those that that market that we don't serve are the ones that complement the whole customer journey. So I would say that it's still positive at this point.
No, thanks for that. If it's okay, I'd just like to probe a little bit on that part. So I understand the part of 20% increase. I mean, the part of increase in customer audience, that's great. I totally relate to that. My question is specific to a particular OND where AirAsia flies, okay? Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. You've got AirAsia and you've got 10 other airlines. As a super app which also runs the airline, how would you give unbiased perspective to a customer and make sure you don't, you win a transaction, but how do you give unbiased perspective versus there are 10 other airlines and without losing that business?
I think that's a fair question. We have been actually try and error before. Okay, before that, probably we have like this unbiased way of like showing all the airlines, and then whoever that is like the cheapest. If you sort by cheapest, we should, as an OTA, we should be able to actually offer that the feature to sort by the cheapest airline first. So that one, I think that it is still within our feature, because we still wanted to be we wanted to challenge our internally airline team, revenue management team as well. Are our pricing competitive with other competitors? Probably we are not the cheapest because we have certain load factors that we have achieved. So in terms of that, I would say that we are still holding the close value in terms of customer first and passenger first. And we do actually offer that unbiased feature, as in we don't actually filter out the other competitor airlines. We wanted to offer you a holistic all the airlines that is on board on our platform, to be able to actually let customers to choose which are the airlines or which are the timings that you are actually suitable for you. So I would say that customer first is our point, but at the same time, definitely it will give an internal challenge to our revenue management team as well. Right now, our own platform, we have other competitors. However, I wouldn't quantify still that to a revenue loss, because I think it will back to the revenue management strategy. If let's say we don't have that load factor yet, of course you need to be a competitive pricing, and that's from there you can actually, AirAsia flights will be at the top of the search on our own platform. However, if let's say there is certain load factor or certain yield that we want to achieve already, definitely the other competitor airlines probably on probably a weaker timing that will actually appear first. If let's say sorting by cheapest is actually customers' preference in terms of the sort. So I think that our focus is really on the platform offering and ensure that the features fulfill whatever the customers needed at their booking journey.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last question for the whole panel. So maybe in the interest of time, we keep it short. But I'm trying to see, the future of the digital airline. And when I look at digital players and service, you mentioned Spotify, Netflix, or Amazon Prime, it's all subscription based. Do you see a future, once you have all those digital talents working for you, that airlines are all going to develop that kind of subscription model to whatever service it is? You cannot fly for free like you watch unlimited movies, but at least, what would that look like, that digital airline, in terms of customer experience? I don't know if the question is clear. Who wants to try that? Nehong, maybe you understand the question, maybe you do it already.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No, it's in terms of
it's a question. So I have this vision, I don't know, I imagine future airline that I would subscribe to LATAM, and LATAM, I would just subscribe to Amazon Prime or something. I would subscribe to LATAM, and LATAM would make sure that they can fly me the best seat, best availability, best price, all of that. Whether they fly with LATAM, if I go somewhere you don't fly, you would find the AirAsia flight for me, etc. That would be like what I would expect from a digital airline in the future. And now if you hire lots of digital talent, they will make sure that's the new mindset. Is that something that you envisage as well?
In terms of the digital airline?
Yes.
So I would say that a lot of, I think maybe in terms of let's say being a digital airline, yes, people is one of the things, but the offerings there is really more of like really high relevancy of the personalized recommendation through the app itself. Right now, we probably still have one more things that in view of the things that on our roadmap, such as the trip planner. We wanted to actually enhance and fulfill the whole journey. AI trip planner, everything is AI right now. So I mean, you can actually go on a separate platform, AI-based, to actually curate your own trip planner. However, integrating that into our own app would be one of our roadmap to actually say that you really have that digital experience, everything on your hand, planned out without actually going to a multiple platform. That probably is our vision. Yeah.
We can finish maybe on that note. So, thanks again very much. Please join me in thanking and a big round of applause for all our panelists.